Hello and welcome. My name is Avinash. In last video, we have seen how we can create tables on Snowflake and how we can load data into those tables. Now in this video, I'll walk you through how we can select data from tables. So select is basically a statement which is mostly used in SQL world. Now, let me tell you the basic syntax of select statement. So the syntax is select, then you have to specify column names. So say column name is column 1, then column 2, then from here goes the table name. So this is the basic syntax of the select statement. Now say suppose you want to see the data from whole table. You want to see the data from all the columns. So therein you don't need to specify specific column names. You can just use star, and that will basically help you to get data from all the columns. So the query would be select star from table name. Now while specifying table name, it is always good to specify DB, then schema. Our schema is college data, then table name. Let's try to fetch all the columns from student table. Let's execute it. Here it shows the result of the query. Now we had selected select star, so that means it will select all the columns from the students table. Now say if you want to understand, if you just want to understand which student is from which city, so you don't need all the columns. So in that will be like selecting specific data from specific columns. So in that case, you have to specify the column names. So say, let's say select student ID, then okay, then let's say we want to find out first student ID, what is the city and also state. Then let's put the column from, then we have to put the table name. Now here you can see it hasn't selected all columns because we have specified specific columns that we need. So based on our requirement, we have selected 3 columns: student underscore ID, city, and state. So that is why it is showing us only 3 columns. Now, while selecting data from columns, we may need some meaningful name to the column that we have selected. So let's say here we have 2 columns. Let me execute this statement so that we will have all the columns. So here we have 2 columns, that is student underscore F name and student underscore L name. So we can actually give some alias while retrieving data from those 2 columns. So that will be like select student name, student underscore F name. Here we can put as, or it is actually optional. So we can put as, or we can also skip it, and we can specify the alias. So let's say our alias is first name underscore name. Then again for student underscore L name. Here let's say we will use as last name from the table name. So though the actual table contains column with student underscore F name, while retrieving the result, we will be getting column name as first underscore name. And again for student underscore L name, we will be getting column name as last underscore name for the query result. See. So the first name, this is the new alias, and again for last name, student underscore L name, we have given it as a last underscore name. So this is how you can specify alias based on your requirement. Now, as we're selecting data from table based on by specifying the column names, same thing can be done by using indexes. So that is like select. So say suppose you want to fetch the first column. Let me go select all the columns. So the first column is student ID, then second column is student underscore F name, then third column is student underscore L name. So that can be done by using dollar indexes. So that will be like $1. So this will select the student ID. $2. This will give us the student underscore F name. $3. This will give us the student underscore L name. So like this, we can specify the indexes for the specific columns that we need from table name. Now here we are getting data, but we are not getting meaningful column names here. So alias can be used here. That will be that will be helpful here. So say student, this is the student ID. So I'll just give it as ID. Then second column is student underscore L name. So let me just give it as first name. Spelling mistake. Then for third column, let me give it as last name. And here we are not actually specifying the exact column name that we are going to retrieve, but here trying to use indexes. So here you go. We're getting data from first column, and we have renamed it as we have given alias as ID. For the second column, we have given alias as first name, and for third column, we have given alias as a last name. So this is how you can use the indexes to retrieve data from the tables. Now this so far we are playing with the simple columns. Now how about selecting data from the complex fields, columns which are having complex data type? Let me remove it. So in our table student, we have two columns. The column names are hobbies and email. Now hobbies column is having data type as array, and email column is having data type as variant, and it contains values as key value pair. So how about selecting data from those columns? So let me just select hobbies first. Hobbies from column table name. Now we have selected data for the field call hobbies. Now here you can see that some students are having, okay, along with this, let me try to put student ID as well, so that will be easy to understand. Student underscore ID. So here you can see that some students are having more than one hobby. So here student ID 1 is having cooking as hobby. Then second student with student ID as 2 is also having one hobby. But student with student ID 3 is having two hobbies. So the first is skydiving and second one is dancing. Again, the student with student ID as 9, he is having two hobbies, that is wine testing and dancing. Again, for 14, the same case, and others are having only one hobby. So how about selecting data from columns like this? So say like we were not interested to find out what is his second hobby, but we need only the first hobby for all the students. So how about that? So in that case, what we have to do is we have to actually specify the array index for that particular which hobby. So let me put the column name as it is. Then inside parenthesis, inside square brackets, we have to put the index. So this is array. So the first hobby goes into the index as 0. Second hobby goes into the index as 1. So if you put 0, it will basically give us the first hobby. So here you can see that for student 1, 2, and yeah, for student 3, student ID, student ID 3. So he's having two hobbies, that is skydiving and dancing. But as per our selection, by specifying the array index, we are only able to retrieve the first hobby, that is skydiving. Similarly for this one. Here again, hobbies of 0, so that this actually doesn't make much sense. So we can specify some alias to it. Say like first hobby, first underscore first hobby. So this will help us to give some meaningful name to while getting the result from the query. Similar to this, we can find out the second hobby by just specifying the index as 1. This is our first hobby and this is our second hobby. So wherever students are having second hobby, we will get those. And for those students which are not having any second hobby, they just have one hobby. For those students, we will get null in that particular field. So here you go. You can see that students with student ID 1 and 2, they are having only one hobby. So there is no secondary hobby. So we are getting null. But for student ID 3, we are getting second hobby as dancing. Again, for student 9, we are getting second hobby as dancing. So this is how you can retrieve data from columns if they're having data type as array. Now let's go ahead and try to fetch data from the email column. Select email from okay. So okay, let me again try to put student ID. Okay, so here the student 1 is having 2 emails, and for student 16, student with student ID is 16, he's again having 2 email IDs, and rest all students are having most of the all the students are having one email ID. Again 63 and 71, he's having these 2 guys are again having 2 email IDs. So how about selecting data from such kind of columns? Say suppose we are just interested to get the first primary email ID. So in that case, what we can do is we can specify email. Now while retrieving data from a column with data type as array, we were specifying array index. Here we have to specify the key. So here key is primary, and again if there is any secondary email ID, the second key is secondary. So we can specify the key. So as we're interested in the primary email ID, so we have to specify like this. Now here let me put some alias as primary email ID, primary email. Okay, that's it. That should be okay. If I execute this, it will help us to retrieve all the primary email IDs for all the students. So the student 1 is having 2 email ID, but as we are interested only in primary email ID, so we are able to retrieve that. Now, how about secondary one? Similar to this, we can specify the secondary email ID as well. Now, if student is not having any secondary email ID, so that particular thing will come as null. Let me copy this. See, so here the students which are having secondary email ID, we're getting those, and if students are not having any secondary email ID, for those we are getting none. So this is how you can basically use the select statement to retrieve data from tables based on our requirement. That's it for this video. In next video, I'll talk about how we can use the where clause to get record for specific condition. So stay tuned. If you have any doubt, if you have any question about this video while retrieving data by using a select statement, please comment in the comment section. Thank you.